40,000 years ago, a young hunter sits by a fire, watching someone across the flames laugh at a joke he just told. No phone in his pocket, no profile to swipe through, no restaurant to take her to next Friday. Just 30 or so familiar faces, the same fire they sit around every night, and absolutely nowhere to disappear to if this goes badly. That last part matters more than people realize. For nearly all of human history, courtship happened inside a group small enough that everyone knew everyone. Hunter-gatherer bands typically ran between 20 and 50 people, moving together across the same stretch of land for food, water, and shelter. Your entire social world fit around one fire. Every awkward moment, every flirtation, every rejection played out in front of people you'd see again at sunrise, whether you wanted to or not. There was no ghosting, no quietly fading out of someone's life. If you embarrassed yourself in front of someone you liked, you were still sitting 3 feet away from them the next morning, and the morning after that. Anthropologists studying surviving hunter-gatherer societies have found that this constant visibility changed what attraction actually looked like. People weren't presenting curated versions of themselves through photos and short messages. They were watching each other handle real situations day after day for years. Who stayed calm when something went wrong? Who shared meat after a hunt instead of hoarding it? Who panicked and who didn't? Reputation wasn't an abstract idea. It was the only currency that existed. And one trait shows up again and again in this research, something most people wouldn't guess: being funny mattered enormously. A study of the acta people in the Philippines found that skilled storytellers weren't just popular, they tended to have more children than people in their group who weren't. The ability to hold a fire's attention and make people laugh wasn't just entertainment. It may have been quietly steering the direction of human evolution itself. This actually tracks with something we covered in the last video, about why human babies are born so unfinished and dependent. A creature that helpless to raise needs a partner you can actually trust, not just someone who looks capable. Humor, in a world without resumes or credentials, was a fast, hard-to-fake signal of intelligence and social skill. If you could think quickly enough to be funny, you could probably think quickly enough to handle a crisis. And status worked differently too, because there wasn't much to own. A hunter-gatherer camp might contain fewer physical objects than your kitchen does right now. No houses, no cars, no closets of clothing to judge someone by. So people judged each other entirely on behavior: who comforted a crying child, who stayed steady when a predator was spotted nearby, who made the group feel safer just by being present. These weren't just nice personality traits. They were survival information, because a person alone in that environment didn't last long. The group was the survival unit, not the individual, and that single fact reshaped what mating even meant. Modern relationships tend to center on two people. Ancient ones were rarely that contained. Choosing a partner meant choosing to merge into their entire network of relatives and responsibilities. Researchers studying the Hadza people of Tanzania noticed that couples spent surprisingly little time alone compared to modern expectations. Daily life happened in the open, surrounded by family. Privacy, in the way we think of it now, barely existed as a concept. Try flirting with someone while 30 relatives are sitting nearby sharpening tools and roasting roots over the same fire. That was just Tuesday. For a long time, the popular image of prehistoric mating leaned on cavemen dragging women off by force, men clubbing each other over partners. The actual evidence tells a far less brutal story. Among the Juhoansi people of southern Africa, women regularly rejected men they weren't interested in, and divorce carried little stigma. When a relationship stopped working, people separated without the social wreckage that often surrounds it today. What this suggests is that humans evolved to form pair bonds, but not necessarily permanent ones. Some ancient relationships likely lasted decades, others lasted a season. Both were normal. There's a clear evolutionary logic underneath this flexibility, one that connects directly back to just how demanding human children are. A newborn foal stands within hours of being born. A human infant can't reliably hold its own head up for months, and stays genuinely dependent for over a decade afterward. Raising one successfully is an enormous, exhausting investment, which is likely why humans develop such intense emotional attachment in the first place. Love, stripped down to its biological function, may be the mechanism that kept two exhausted people from walking away from each other while hauling a screaming toddler across open grassland. If you watched the babies video, you already know children weren't raised by one exhausted parent alone either. Grandmothers stepped in, older siblings stepped in, aunts, uncles, and unrelated members of the group all contributed. Some researchers connect this directly to why human females go through menopause at all, a trait almost unheard of elsewhere in the animal kingdom. Under what's called the grandmother hypothesis, living well past reproductive age paid off for the species. Because grandmothers who helped raise grandchildren measurably improved those children's odds of survival. In a strange way, your grandmother exists today partly because prehistoric childcare was never a one-person job. If you've made it this far, you clearly want to understand how we actually got here. So go ahead and subscribe before the next one drops. So what counted as attractive back then? Some of it lines up with today. Health, strength, and visible confidence mattered, much like now. But beauty standards bent heavily around survival conditions. In environments where food was unpredictable, having visible body fat signaled health and resilience rather than anything negative. A scar from a hunt could read as proof of experience and courage, not as a flaw to hide. Smell carried far more weight than it does now, too. We spend enormous effort erasing our natural scent with soap, deodorant, and perfume. Ancient humans had none of that, and the human nose is more sensitive than most people give it credit for. Studies have found people subconsciously gravitate toward the scent of partners whose immune systems differ meaningfully from their own, a preference that improves the immune resilience of any children that follow. Your nose may have been quietly involved in your dating life this entire time without you ever noticing. Fire changed all of this more than people tend to assume. Before it, nightfall was dangerous, and staying quiet and alert was the safer option. Fire bought humans extra hours of safety after dark, and people filled those hours with exactly what you'd expect: conversation, jokes, stories, music. A huge share of human bonding likely took shape beside flames, under skies with no light pollution to compete with. Life moved faster in other ways too. Constant walking, injuries with no real medicine, childbirth without intervention, unpredictable food. A 35-year-old hunter-gatherer had usually lived through far more physical hardship than a 35-year-old today. And yet older members of the group were treated with real respect because knowledge was survival. Knowing which plants were poisonous, where the water would be in a dry season, how animals behaved before a storm, that kind of competence mattered more than physical strength ever could on its own. Eventually, human mating became tied to something most animals don't rely on nearly as heavily: cooperation. Other species compete mostly through physical dominance. Humans compete largely through social intelligence. Can people trust you? Can you hold a friendship together? Can the group function smoothly with you in it? Those traits never stopped mattering. Confidence still reads as competence. Humor still reads as intelligence. Kindness still reads as reliability. Jealousy still tends to surface as a fear of losing something you've invested in. Underneath every dating app and every modern city, the same ancient software is still quietly running the show. And maybe the strangest part of all this is how emotionally familiar prehistoric people probably were. They flirted. They got rejected. They almost certainly lay awake at night wondering if someone liked them back. Archaeologists have uncovered ancient burials where two people were laid to rest holding each other, and in a few well-known sites, flowers appear to have been carefully placed beside a body tens of thousands of years ago. That means someone stopped, someone grieved, someone remembered. For everything that's changed since then, the core of the story hasn't moved very far at all. People searching for someone to face an uncertain world beside. Which part of this surprised you more, the storytelling thing or the grandmother hypothesis? Tell me in the comments, and if this made you think about your own relationship differently, send it to your partner and see what they say.